It began with rain. Not just any rain, but the kind that clings to the asphalt, turning paradise into something darker. On a January night in 1982, on the island of Oahu, Hawaii, a young woman vanished. She was beautiful, beloved, and barely 19 years old. Her name was Lisa O, and her disappearance would unleash a storm of media attention, public paranoia, and police scrutiny that would stretch for decades. What made her case so haunting wasn't just the mystery surrounding her death, but who might have been involved, and why justice was never served. If you're drawn to the dark corners of true crime, where evidence fades and justice slips through the cracks, subscribe for more long-form deep dives like this. Leave a comment if you remember this case, or if you think justice could still be served. And now, back to Lisa O, the girl everyone loved. Lisa O was the kind of person people remembered. Born on July 25, 1962, in Honolulu, she grew up in a tight-knit Hawaiian Chinese family on the island of Oahu. Lisa was the eldest of 3 children and had a reputation as the responsible one. Her mother, Ko, described her as caring and smart. Her father, Lawrence, owned a small but successful business. Her life was, by all accounts, ordinary in the best way. Lisa graduated from Kaiser High School in East Honolulu and was working as a hairdresser at Susan Beer Salon in the Ala Moana Center. She was serious about her future, had steady clientele, and was dating a young man named Doug Holmes, an EMT she'd met through mutual friends. On the surface, Lisa's life looked idyllic. Hawaii in the early 80s was a postcard sun, surf, and the scent of plumeria in the air. But under that postcard exterior were real people, real dangers, and in Lisa's case, a mystery no one saw coming. The night she vanished, it was Friday, January 21st, 1982. Lisa finished her shift around 9 p.m. at the salon. She made plans to meet up with Doug Holmes at his sister's apartment in Makiki to deliver some dinner. They spent time together until around midnight. She was last seen leaving the apartment shortly after, heading back toward her own home in Kailua. The night was wet. Heavy rain poured down across Oahu, washing over the roads and slowing traffic. But Lisa never made it home. Her parents grew concerned by the next morning. Lisa never stayed out without calling. She wasn't rebellious. She wasn't impulsive. When she didn't show up for her salon shift, red flags were everywhere. Just 12 hours later, her car, a 1976 Toyota Corolla, was found abandoned on the shoulder of the H3 highway near the Kailua-bound lanes. Her purse, wallet, and license were still inside. Her keys were missing, and there was something odd. The front seat was damp. Investigators couldn't tell if the moisture came from the storm or from something more sinister. There were no signs of a struggle, but there was also no sign of Lisa. Days turned into a week. The public watched in growing horror as hundreds of volunteers searched the rugged cliffs and thick forests of the Pali area. Police helicopters scanned from above. Lisa's parents issued public pleas for help. Posters with her photo appeared all over the island. Then 10 days later, on January 31st, a jogger discovered Lisa's body. She was found nude and decomposing in a ravine off Tantalus Drive, a winding forest road near Honolulu. There was no clear cause of death, and no suspect. The investigation, flaws, rumors, and red flags, the Honolulu Police Department quickly came under fire for how it handled the case. First, there was the matter of the car. Officers found no blood, no signs of struggle. But strangely, they didn't treat it as a crime scene immediately. Vital evidence may have been lost during those early hours. Then came the most chilling development. A police officer had been seen near Lisa's vehicle the night she vanished. Witnesses described a man in a patrol uniform pulling over a car matching Lisa's, but no official traffic stop involving Lisa had been logged. It got worse. Doug Holmes, Lisa's boyfriend, later admitted he had a police-style blue light in his car, given to him by a friend in law enforcement. Some speculated, had someone impersonated an officer and pulled Lisa over that night? Or worse, was a real officer involved? Soon, the spotlight turned on one man, Officer Gary Dish. Dish was questioned, but denied involvement. Other officers said they had seen a patrol car near the area where Lisa S.'s car was found. Yet, nothing concrete tied Dish or any officer to the crime. No arrests were made. Behind closed doors, sources whispered about internal cover-ups. Did the HPD suppress evidence to protect one of their own? Public confidence in the police plummeted. Citizens who once trusted their officers now questioned every flashing light on the highway. The media devoured the story. Local headlines blared with every new detail or rumor. National outlets picked it up, framing Lisa's death as a tragic tale of paradise lost. The legal fallout and public outcry. Although no one was ever arrested for Lisa's murder, her case caused a tidal wave of change in Hawaii. The idea that someone could impersonate an officer and pull over a young woman with no consequence terrified residents. In response, the Hawaii state legislature introduced emergency bills that banned civilians from owning blue police lights. New laws also required stricter identification for off-duty officers and harsher penalties for impersonating law enforcement. Meanwhile, Lisa's family was left in a legal limbo. With no official cause of death due to decomposition and limited forensic tools at the time, prosecutors struggled. The medical examiner couldn't determine whether Lisa had been sexually assaulted, strangled, or killed in another way. In the courtroom, lack of physical evidence meant no indictment. In public, speculation filled the void. Talk radio lit up with theories. Some believed Lisa was abducted by a serial predator. Others insisted it was an inside job buried under the bureaucracy of blue uniforms and unwritten codes. The aftermath. A case that haunts Hawaii, Lisa's death remains one of Hawaii's most well-known unsolved cases. Over 40 years later, people still talk about her. Every few years, new cold case units revisit the file. Retired detectives have spoken publicly about the mistakes they believe were made. One former officer told local news, "We all knew something was off. But without hard evidence, our hands were tied." Lisa's family never stopped grieving. Her mother, Kao, once said in an interview, "We never got justice. We got silence." In some ways, Lisa became a symbol for lost innocence, for justice denied, for the darker truth beneath Hawaii's beauty. Her story triggered deeper conversations about women's safety, police accountability, and the need for better forensic infrastructure in the islands. Today, her name appears on lists of the most mysterious unsolved crimes in the United States. But more than that, she's remembered by those who knew her as kind, compassionate, and full of promise. And somewhere out there, someone knows what happened that night in 1982. Lisa O's case reminds us of how fragile the line is between safety and danger, even in paradise. It shows how easily evidence can disappear, how power can go unchecked, and how families can be left in the dark for decades. But it also shows the resilience of truth, that even without justice, stories like Lisa's continue to be told, demanding answers, honoring the memory of a life taken too soon. Until someone comes forward or science catches up, Lisa's story remains suspended in mystery, and we will keep telling it